Hi there, this is Axiom back for another video. The channel has just passed 500 subscribers. I'd like to thank everyone for subscribing so far. So as a special, I'm going to prep a chapter of an adventure from start to finish. Okay, so first things first, before we begin, if you're one of my players from the Friday group, there's going to be heavy spoilers. Only to be watched after you get through your next Spelljammer game. So now, get out of here. Right, now that's done and out of the way. For everyone else, my players have already done Chapter 1 of Spelljammer Academy, and I need to prep Chapter 2 for a one-shot that's coming up. So where am I going to start? Well, first things first, I'm going to go and look at the adventure in D&D Beyond and take a read through. I've now got D&D Beyond opened, and I'm looking at the adventure on one side, and I've opened a blank Google Doc on the other. I'm going to go through the process of just checking out what scenes, NPCs, or key pieces of information I'm going to need to pull from the adventure and have prepped prior to the game. I can see that the adventure's in 3 sections. I'm just going to pull those out so they're ready to go. 3 chapters. I've got around 4 hours of game time on a Friday, so I roughly know how much my players can get through in that sort of time. I'll give myself a little bit of breathing room here and there, and I'll usually prep a little bit extra stuff just in case, or a random extra encounter, just something to cover those sort of bases. I'm looking for what scenes or maps are going to be needed built in Foundry. Looking through part 1. So there is a section here called Breakfast of Champions. So we need some sort of a scene here for a cadet quarters communal dining area. It seems like this is all a social encounter. We do have a couple of key NPCs that we do need to have, so I'm going to pull those out as something we need to make. And this PC here seems to be a key one, so we need something for those 2 built up. And it looks like a fairly simple opening scene. Test of Metal takes place all on the Spelljammer simulation deck, so we need to pull something out for that. And kind of like a holodeck, they're going to go on a virtual journey through wild space. And that, in my mind, says we need a ship map. So that's probably going to be one of our big key ones we're going to need for this one. We have 2 key NPCs again. I believe I have those built from last time. And then there appear to be 3 challenges that they have to deal with whilst piloting a ship. So we'll bear those in mind to give us a slightly different feel of a map for those 3. We need some sort of map for a salvage operation, where they have to go and retrieve a logbook. And lastly, wild space battle in this chapter. They're attacked by Githyanki pirates. Part 3 is all about sabotage, so we need a damaged simulations deck, and they're looking for clues. Okay, and that gives me the basics of what I need to build. Now we can go through to Foundry and work on getting this put together. Next step, I'm going to have a look around and see what maps people have made for some of these possible encounters, see how they fit the bill, and then we're going to move into Foundry and work on the rest. Okay, so here we are back in Foundry. In the scenes directory here, I've made a chapter 2. And I've pulled in all the maps I found on Reddit that I needed, and as with most of the time, maps now exist for the adventure I'm actually looking at. I'll put the links to the maps in the description below, so let's have a look at what we've got. So the only things I've done so far is scale the maps outside of Foundry so that they fit correctly. I tend to always do this in Photoshop. It's what I know and what I learned. It could be done in other things like GIMP, or you could spend the time working out the scaling actually in Foundry itself. All of those will work. So yes, these are all correctly scaled maps at this point. So I've got 2 levels of the Spelljammer Academy that need to be lit and set up, and a ship map that's transparent so that we can make an animated background and a few other things which will look really nice. And then we have a final map which will be the set piece battle at the end of the episode. So I'm feeling fairly comfortable that we've got the main bases covered from the map point of view. And now I'm just going to go through and start setting them up. Starting with level 4 of the cadets quarters, I'm going to now go through and do all the walls and doors. Okay, once all the walls and lighting are complete, I tend to grab a player token, pull it into the scene and just wander it around, checking all the doors and the lighting are correct. In this case, I've missed a few doors. Okay, now the time lapse is over. What have we got? All the walling's done, doors are worked out. A PC has walked around all of the areas and checked that they work okay and can move properly. I've then added all of the lighting in, mainly making up a torch and then copying it a bunch of times to cover the parts of the map. Then lastly, I've used a wildcard token for populating the whole space with commoner tokens ready for the game. There's a couple of specific NPCs that need to be built, but other than that, this map's ready to go. And here we go again for level 6. That's all of level 6 lit, NPCs added, tokens checked. For the map, the Hammerhead ship, there are 3 phases to what happens during this challenge. There's a standard star field, they go through an electrical storm, and then they pass through an asteroid field. So the way I'm thinking of dealing with this is the Hammerhead ship is on a transparent layer. I've made 3 tileable backgrounds, they're all done. 2 of them are already set up in Parallaxia, and we're just going to set this last one up now. So from the tile menu, I'm going to go through to Parallaxia and then make Parallaxia tile. Luckily for me, they all start scrolling in the right direction straight off, and I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to use Monk's tiles to turn each of these on and off as needed. So to do that, I've got this extra tile over here, and we're going to go through to its triggers section in here. It's going to be set up on a double click, and in the action section, I'm going to add, in this case, I'm going to find show and hide. We want to do show token, and we're going to select it. So now when you see on the triggers, 1 will be shown and 2 will be hidden. I'm then going to copy this 2 more times, and I'll edit the other 2 to only show 1 of the other tiles. Okay, with all 3 of those set up, we can click on 1, and now we can see just the star field is visible. The second one is just the asteroids, and the third will be the lightning. I'm going to move those into an order that I will remember, and I'll label them as well. Now I can move all of those tiles into place and lock their positions. And for your players, that will look correct. For you to live with the images being partially visible, we would just have to add some NPCs and the players, and that scene would be ready to go. This last scene is the simplest one to prep. We just need to add some lights. Go to the tile section, maybe bring in some JB2A assets to just help things along. In this case, I'm going to go for generic starfield stuff. A couple of ghostly lights at slow speed. And that's our final battle scene, barring pulling in the PCs and some enemy tokens, ready to go. We still have more to build, and there will be a part 2 to follow later in the week. Thank you all for listening, and please like and subscribe for more content.